Going to Compton was what I think I secretly hoped for the trip to LA would be like, to discover new places that you don't think you would ever go.
I mean, LA itself is a very mythical place. It's related to all this dream factory, entertainment, Hollywood, all of it. It's layer over layer over layer of mystified pop culture. It encapsulates this whole city, this whole place. And we really were trying to penetrate that and really get to the heart of what it actually feels like to be in LA, what it actually means to work creatively there.
You watch so many movies and read books about like Compton and LA and what's going on there, and you have this filter of pop culture and media coverage and so, and now then you realize, okay, we're in a car, we're driving through Compton, I don't know what's gonna happen.
I think we have to give credit to our amazing tour guide and now friend Toons, who took us by the hand and just guided us through the underground and pop, sub, graffiti art culture. Also, he took us to Compton. He was like, hey, I know this guy, don't be intimidated. He's a strong character. He's been to prison for over 20 years, but he's a really good guy. He's my friend. Let's go and visit. And we were like, holy shit, okay, let's go.
What I really like about these experiences is that your senses get really sharp. You notice every little detail, hear the smells, the colors.
We drove up to huge compounds surrounded by walls, bars in front of the windows and the door, and we knocked, and our friend Toons said it's okay if we come in. And then we met an artist, Fulton Leroy Washington, or as probably most of LA and California-based people will know him as Mr. Wash. Mr. Wash is today a renowned artist. He has exhibitions in galleries and museums such as the Hammer Museum. He does commission works for the city of Los Angeles. He works with artists such as Drake for his album covers. And we sat down and talked to him, and we wanted to hear his story because Mr. Wash is a unique artist. He's a self-taught painter. He says he was wrongfully convicted for a nonviolent drug offense in 1997, and he was incarcerated for 21 years. And he taught himself how to paint while being in prison, and he shared the story with us.
And one day I was up there and I looked through the window and I saw people painting. And I was like, wow, you know, I want to do that. Then I painted my very first oil painting, which is called Why Us? It was a picture of, they had a movie that came out, I think it came out in like 1996 called Armistead. It was about the slave trade and people being tied. They had a picture in the newspaper, a black and white picture about maybe 2x3, like a business card size. And for some reason, an inmate brung it to me and said, hey, Mr. Wash, you know, you need to look at this. And I looked at it like, what is this? It's a movie. It's Armistead. It's about slaves like Roots and this and that. And I'm like, oh, wow. I took the picture, put it in my wallet, kept it for probably close to a year. And then the opportunity came. I didn't know what to paint. I finally have a seat in here. What am I going to paint? I pulled that out and tried. Nothing like what I do now. It's nothing like that. It was my first attempt with oils. And it was called Why Us, and had dead people tied to the floor in chains.
I think you can't come from a background that is more opposite or more far away than our background and Mr. Wash's background. Like where we grew up, how we grew up, what life threw in front of us, and what we made out of it. And then we met in the middle. We met through art, celebrating life, of dealing with challenges, of coping, of performing magic. And that was what I felt there.
Learning how to paint in oil in prison, how he developed his style, his signature leitmotifs of the tears with reflections of what people lost, what they longed for while being incarcerated.
So one day while painting, Cal Triber, which was another artist inside of the room where we worked, he had his headphones off laying on the counter, and he had the amplifiers, all that, and so he's filling the room with music, and I'm painting, and then all of a sudden the song comes on, Tim McGraw. I don't know why they say grown men don't cry. And just the statement of the song, the first lyrics, caught me. And as I listened to the story being told, I went into tears. And I couldn't let nobody in prison see me cry. It's not a place to be anywhere weak, so no tears could fall, no sounds, and I had to muffle myself and hide behind my canvas until I regathered myself. But once I did, I decided to draw a sketch of everything I felt, and it was a picture of me with tears in my eyes, and inside of my tears was me losing my wife and my family and everything that existed. And so I kind of drew it out. And then the next week I took a picture of myself in the position that I saw myself in a prison tower looking out, and then I painted it. That was the very first one. When people saw it, the inmates, the staff, the warden, everybody saw it. They could never imagine a tear to ever fall from my eye. And everybody began to humble themselves and to open up with the things that bothered them. Because it took a while to paint. It ain't like it just popped out one day. I'm sitting there working on it, and I'm working on it, and I'm working on it. And then the tears come after I painted the picture. Then the tears start to come in, and they're like, what? You know, then inside the tears start to come. And they're like, damn, man, I didn't know you was going through stuff like that. Yeah, man, we all going through it, you know? So then they start to tell their stories. And as they told their stories, it's like, man, could you do me one? Could you put my dog in? Could you put my mom in? They just kind of evolved into where people were coming to the prison from other prisons, looking for me to create and tell their story.
Sometimes you meet artists or you see artworks or experience artworks where I personally have a feeling that some kind of magic is going on. And I'm thinking about this magic that is tied to art from the very beginning of art, you know, like painting the cave walls where it was not clear if it was an artwork, if it was a ritual, if it was a powerful magic spell. And this quality I sometimes see in artworks, and you see how they unfold in life and what power they have to change the reality. And then at Mr. Wash's place, to hear his story, there I had this strong feeling that, you know, art came into his life, and it was just like it was like a window that opened and he could finally breathe. And to me, that's magic.
My desire and my efforts are to create a community center that will allow both the youth that's growing up to become adults to have a way of expression and communication using art. And they'll be able to do that here at this location, 915 West Rosecrans in the city of Compton, the Art by Wash Studio and Community Center.
Yeah, then he asked us to participate in his art wall. He has a huge wall in his compound where, friends, fellow artists, members of his community, each painted a little square space on that wall, and he asked us to participate.
Which is a fantastic honor and was also one of our hidden wish list points for traveling to LA. And that it turned out to be a mural for Mr. Wash's community in Compton was just a dream come true. It was so cool.
It was the night before we had this invitation to Mr. Wash's house. It came like a vision. We were driving on the Pacific Coast Highway, lights flashing by, cars going by, you can see palm trees and the sky getting darker. And we were thinking about what are we looking for? What is our mission here? What are we hoping to find? And there was this strong sense of building a net, building connections, gathering a tribe. The idea of having portals to connect came up. And so we thought, okay, portals like in physical form, in form of an artwork, objects or paintings. Let's make portals wherever we go, where we find something meaningful, where we find a good place, where we find good people. What do all these portals lead to? They lead to the mothership, and that's our home base. That's our base in Hamburg.
We chose to do a very simple piece. We gilded this whole block in the wall. I think we took like 3 coats of gilding, and we just added our symbol, our secret symbol for the portal. And we added some coordinates for where the mothership actually is. And that's it. It's a very simple, graphic little artwork. I think Mr. Wash appreciated it because it's a very different style. If you look at this wall, it's like, okay, LA artists. You see the whole thing, you could tell it's in LA just from looking at it without any further context. And then there's this little weird portal artwork in there. And yeah, that's us.